Welcome to the Believe and Achieve podcast with Lyndon Longhorne and Jay Manners. You will learn many hints and tips throughout this program. It will be a process which will be ongoing and will inspire you throughout your career. Let's go.
Hello and welcome back to Believe and Achieve podcast with your host Jay Manners and Lyndon Longhorne. Say hello, Lyndon.
All right, how are we doing?
Good stuff. And today we have our very first special guest. We have on the show today European Medallist, World University Games champion and multiple British champion, Jay Lelliott. Welcome to the podcast, Jay.
Thanks a lot for having me.
So, Jay, how have you been doing over the pandemic, and was there any challenges that you faced over that period?
Yeah, it was weird, to be honest. From my personal perspective, I was swimming so well going into trials, and it was such a shame when it happened because at that time I was training for the 400 free and 800 free and stuff, and it was just going so well. And I guess when it happened, I went home for that period of time. I'm from Dorset down south, and it was just quite tough. When I got home, we were still doing home workouts and stuff because we didn't really know how long it was going to be going on for. And it was I got into running, but because I was still so aerobically fit, I would be able to run 8 to 9, 10 miles on my first few runs. And I think that was partly because as well, I was just in that mentality where I was I need to do something. And I remember my third run, I did 11 miles. And I felt something go on the back of my calf. And the next time I ran, I did 8 because I was in pain. And then I had to stop running for about a month and a half because there was this 5K run that was raising money for charity. And honestly, it took me about 6 weeks to be able to actually complete that run because I just pushed it far too hard too early. And I think it was just in that situation, it was just too much for me to deal with at the start. And it was a roller coaster. But I was very fortunate in the end to be able to get back in the pool in July and swim with the British women in the return to training program down in Loughborough. So that did work out quite well in the end. And I do think partly that the break did have a nice mental refresh because obviously as we go through the sport, we only ever have I know for myself, I only have 3 weeks out the pool after summer. And what was it, 3.5, 4 months out the pool? It really just, almost a different perspective, that it's almost not all about swimming, but the problem was as well that I was always really itching to get back. So it was weird, but at the same time, I got to spend a lot of quality time with my family and yeah, it was okay in the end.
So obviously I know you've mentioned about the what you've been going through lockdown and having different challenges and stuff. What's been the biggest learning experience that you've come across?
I think to be honest, it was something to do with acknowledging that it's okay to slow down. Because as I was saying with the running, it was just so intense. And it's hard. I really, really wanted to just keep going and just to smash it and stuff. And my body just wasn't in a place, and I wasn't in a place mentally to be able to do it. And to be honest, I did have a bit of a crash mentally for a while. I've had to resit virtually all of my modules that I had in the summer last year for uni, this year. I think it's just learning that it's okay to slow down and because obviously Tokyo was postponed, it doesn't mean that just because it was postponed doesn't mean that it's not happened. And yeah, I feel because it was weeks out period that it happened, it was just so close. And I found that really hard to deal with. But I just guess it's knowing that it's okay. Just to everyone experiences it differently, I guess. Yeah. And yeah, it was really hard for me to realize for a long time, I guess. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things through the pandemic is just learning to be patient, isn't it? And I feel what a lot of people have struggled with is the unknown as well of when is this going to end? And even to the States still going on, but hopefully we're coming out of it soon. So yeah, fingers crossed. So like,
everyone will keep the fingers crossed for that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. What was difficult about it, by the way? Like, what were your experiences? I'm curious, because obviously we're all athletes here. Like, it's just so it was just so close for me. How did you guys find it?
Yeah, we were exactly the same, to be honest. It was just like learning how to deal with a new routine again, and it's just, I felt like we both said that like we struggled for the first couple of weeks because we just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And once we stuck to a routine, then the weeks seemed to be like flying by quickly, and like just, it was fun doing a bit of like like cross training, like doing some running, doing some cycling. Like it was good to get like more outdoor exercises. And luckily we got a home gym from Costco like a good few years ago,
Oh,
so
perfect.
it came in clutch for the last year. But yeah.
Wow, that sounds awesome. That does. It makes you appreciate and like love things that you didn't think. Well, I know that I didn't think I would, because I know I said about running, like after after I'd got back after that 6 weeks that I had off it, like I built up and I was doing it probably 3 times a week at a healthy amount, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it in the end.
And I suppose the weather was really nice as well when you were running, because we had like lush weather last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the benefit when the weather's nice. You can get out and you can go for a run and stuff. I know with me, like the first lockdown was like hit me hard, and I like just completely hit a brick wall, and I struggled to get myself out of it, and literally had to go and speak to someone. And then from that point, like the second lockdown, I felt way better, because I was like, I think because we've already gone through it, I know what I'm dealing with. But obviously, it's not as easy like for you to wait and go out for a run and get on the bike and stuff. Whereas me, I'm like stuck in the house and I can only go in the chair. And Jay's been up my bank, and I mentioned this on one of the podcasts that we've done. If I tried to push myself up that bank, I wouldn't be getting back up.
Oh no, that's a pain in the ass. Did you have anything that you could do at home in the end?
Yeah, so the second lockdown, I managed to get hold of a ski erg. So one of my friends is like they own a CrossFit gym, and I managed to borrow a ski erg. I had to drive 2.5 hours because I had to go to like Liverpool area to go and get it. I was like, I don't mind. At least it's going to help us keep my cardio up and keep my endurance level going. But that for me was an absolute lifesaver, to just keep the workouts varied, because it's quite difficult when you're going through the same workout day in, day out, and it's to keep your mind refreshed every single day. But whereas having something new, it just completely changes you altogether, to be honest. So
yeah, I found the same with home workouts. After a while, I just became like numb to them, because like you know, there's only so many press ups, sit ups, squats, and all that stuff that you can do. But yeah, I've tried a ski erg before actually, and I think they're great fun, to be honest. So
best thing I've ever come across.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So moving on towards like the back end of 2020, you were a part of the Toronto Titans at the recent ISL competition. I believe that was also your debut in the ISL. That it seemed like a pretty intense 6 weeks out there. What was that experience like for you?
Oh God, awesome. I think, to be honest, like in my career, like I've been to some cool places and I've done some things that I'm proud of, but nothing. Well, it's almost like nothing compares to that kind of thing, because like the rapport that I built with the team, that we built together as a team, because we were forced to be together for a 6-week block, was just awesome. And I left it and I just felt like I had some really close friends from it, you know, like, yeah, it was fantastic. The thing that I loved about it, and I think that, to be honest, is like changed my perspective really on how I swim, is that I've always looked at swimming, even when I'm trying to like race for like British champs medals and stuff like that, as me against the clock, even though like I could come, say, you know, 3rd, 4th, 5th in it or something. But I think when you're out there, when I was out there, like I learned that I need to race, need to like get in the race and like be in it mentally. And it was just like a complete shift, because like we had like some days we had like, I think between rounds 2 and 4 that we did, we had 2 days on racing, 2 days off, 2 days on racing, 2 days off, 2 days on. And like from the first round, I had to isolate before I went out to the ISL for 2 weeks because both my housemates got COVID at that time.
Oh wow!
Really?
It's just and then I had a week before I left, and then I think it was 5 days out there before we did our first race, and I was just like, whatever happens, race one, it doesn't matter. Like whatever shape I'm in, whatever times I go, it doesn't matter. But the point from then is I need to step up on each other round and keep showing that progression. And I think in the first round I went 154 in that 200 back and like 346 in the 400. And in the next round I went like 344 and 152. And like the thing is, when you're out there as well, because there's such short turnarounds, you don't have that kind of time to get fitter. But what you do have is the time to get the skills right and to get perfect like the minor details. And like I feel like I learned more about myself and about the way I swim and the way that I feel like I can approach swimming years that I've had in the sport, and it was just so fascinating. And as I said, some of the friends out there, like I feel like they're just, it was just awesome. I'd love to be part of it again.
Yeah, there was like a mixed group of people from different countries in the Toronto Titans, and it also was a brand new team going into it, wasn't it? So you experienced it like from all angles, really.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I could be wrong. I think there was 11. It's either 11 or 13 different nationalities on the team.
Oh.
It was. Yeah, there was just so many awesome people, and so many awesome stories. Yeah. It just makes me smile like a little swim nerd when I think about it, to be honest.
It's like that moment when you first like go to your competition as like a little like 10-year-old and you first stand on the block and you're like you feel that emotion, don't you? Again, it's like brings everything back. So
100%, yeah. And like the first race, like a few of the people who've like been to the years before were like, "Oh my god, just be wary when you walk out. It's going to be really clear." And when I walked out, because obviously there was no crowd, and when I walked out, I just did not notice it at all. It was just like so amazing. Like, the first experiences of racing out there was just so cool.
So I know you spent like 6 weeks in the bubble when you were out in the ISL, and did you find any difference of doing the 6 weeks bubble compared to the bubbles what you've done over here, or were they both practically like quite similar?
So I think the main difference is probably to do with the timings, because when we was in a bubble over there, obviously it was 6 weeks, and over in the UK, I think when I went to trials, it was 5 days and 7 if you stayed the whole week. The bubble in Hungary was a lot more relaxed, in the sense that you could because at trials you had the seated dining, you didn't have anywhere to dine, you just had to take your food to the room and stuff. Yeah. You couldn't go and watch finals. You couldn't go and be part of the atmosphere unless you were in the final that day, and things like that. So it was quite intense at trials. I'd say it was more so than the ISL. But I think also with the 5-day competition or with the 7-day competition, it kind of had to be. And as time goes on, it may have relaxed the more time it had. Yeah. I definitely preferred the bubble in the ISL. I could not have done 6 weeks of that London bubble at all. Yeah. It would have finished me. But to be honest, I've always been someone who quite likes my own space, and I think that kind of almost plays into my hands because I don't really feel I don't know. It just felt really relaxed in London. I think that was partly because I had a really relaxed mindset going into it as well. Which always helps. But yeah, I definitely preferred the Budapest bubble because you just had more chance for team moments and you could go and watch the swimming and stuff like that. Yeah. And, it was good. Everything was done in the proper social distancing way still, but it was brilliant.
Yeah, and also from experiencing the ISL bubble, it helped you prepare for London as well, because you sort of knew what to expect being a part of a bubble again, really, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. It was actually quite sad because I missed both the Manchester meets in the end, on the prep. So I didn't actually, going into it, know how British women were going to be conducting the the meet. So I was quite nervous around that. But like when I got there, like it basically it's just the same meet. I think I text my coach after the briefing because sometimes the briefings can be quite doom and gloom.
Yeah.
I think I just texted him saying it doesn't matter what is going on. We're just going down there to, you know, mess it up and like do as well as we can. Mess it up is like, you know, just our way of saying let's get after it really. So, you know.
I like that.
Yeah. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Everyone's going through it, doesn't it? So
yeah, exactly.
It's not like what we would say, mess it up, just go and get everyone's COVID tests, do everything.
Yeah. Well, I think the normal words would have a swear word in it as well. So I try to avoid using that. I'm not sure how friendly your podcast is, so user friendly.
Lyndon swore plenty of times in the other one, so it's all right.
It's all about honesty, to be fair. You'd rather be honest and give the true opinion than just like be try and make it false and stuff.
Yeah, well, our phrase then is let's go and fuck shit up then. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. Love that. So what has been your motivation to drive towards swimming rather than like any other sport?
Good question. Okay, so it's kind of always been like this since I was about 12, and it's only really started to shift in the past year and stuff, which shows that I guess even though I'm now getting quite old in terms of swimming world, like 26, like you can still learn and develop new things as you go through. But like when I was like 9 to about the age of 11 or 12, I played football, and I absolutely hated it. Like I played every position. I did one season as attack, one season as midfield, one season as defense, and then I finished in goal. Actually, I think I had 2 seasons in goal in the end. And goalkeeping was the best bit for me, except for in the winter when it was freezing. I hated that. But yeah, I actually, funny little fact for you, when I was playing up front, I scored 0 goals. When I was playing in midfield, I scored 0 goals, and in defense. And then when I was in goal, we were in this like 5-a-side tournament, and I booted the ball from like the edge of my 9-yard goal, and I actually scored a goal from it. So the only place I actually ever managed to score a goal in matches was from the goal line. But yeah. Anyway, back to the story.
Breaking boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I absolutely hated playing football. And I was put on a waiting list for swimming because at our club I was come from this tiny club called Tornadoes of South Dorset, and I wanted to get in, and I think I was like 9 when I said to my parents I'd love to try swimming because we just tried like school swimming and stuff. And I was on a waiting list for 18 months, so I didn't get in until just after my like 11th birthday. And when I did, I shot through the first few squads quite quickly, and I just loved it. And like I think after about 3 or 4 months, I was up to like 2 or 3 sessions a week. And I remember I was so excited just because I couldn't wait to get rid of football. And the thing that I think I like about it is that when I swim, the results are in my hands, and like what I get is what I put into it, you know. Yeah. So I think it was really like I've always been like quite almost like a lone wolf, I guess. And I just love the feeling of knowing that what I put in is what I get. And like I think it's shown that throughout my career, like my goal has been to just be the fastest in the pool, like on a very broad standpoint. And like, you know, as you go through the years, you learn what like else you have to do around that to like get quicker. But yeah, like I think that's always been my driving motivation, you know, just like what I put in is what I get out.
That's awesome.
I think it's the best way to look at it though, isn't it? Like what you're putting into it is what you're getting out of it, but you know it's like the work that you're doing, and you know you can go on and achieve big results with it. Because I'm sure like with yourself, you've got like multiple different achievements that you probably look back on and say, yes, this achievement's brilliant. That's like the best one. What would you say is the biggest achievement of your career so far?
It's a great question.
I've got you now.
you actually have. There's a big part of me that wants to say like breaking 15 minutes and winning European bronze in the 400 like in 2014. But I think at that stage, like I was just swimming carefree. and I was just swimming for for the fun of it. And like I think for a few years I honestly lost that, and I just felt too much pressure from external forces and external people. Honestly, if I was to like talk about the biggest success at the moment for me, it's how I'm approaching swimming right now and how like I did at trials. So like it's not really like the highest peak of my career, but it's like the mental side and like the side of like I now understand like what I need to do, and I know what I want to do, and what anyone else thinks, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I think for a long time I just let that get in the way, and I think I struggled quite a lot for a few years, like being on the funding system and stuff like that, because my goals weren't necessarily just my own. And now I think now I've just got this attitude of like, you know, I know what I want to do, and it's just a different change. It's just a change which I think is so much better for me. Yeah, so I think how I approach swimming now is probably my biggest success, and it's been since like the ISL, and it's been like since the build up to that kind of period of time where like I've just had this shift, because like how you start is not how you finish. And like, you know, through those 5 rounds, like my goal was to get better and better, and like, you know, the times that I did first round weren't special, but by the end I'd knocked a second off my 200 fly and my 200 backstroke PBs. And like it's just like that for me. It's just as simple as that, really.
Yeah, that like really ties in with like what our podcast is about, and it's like believing in yourself. And it's great to see like you're starting to like believe in yourself more, and doing what you love really, and like which is swimming, and you like find that passion for it. So what does the future hold for you now?
Okay, so this is actually quite interesting, because before Olympic trials in 2020, it's strange because I'd basically accepted that I got into the best shape of my life by far, and I'd done so much work with like a sports psychologist that I felt, her name's Zainab Hatha, and from Sheffield Hallam, and I just did so much work, and I felt so confident with what I was doing, and I'd actually said to myself, like, whatever happens at Olympic trials, like I had the confidence. So my mentality was, people can take it away from me if they go quicker, but I know that I'm going to step up in that final, and I'm going to go the time that I need to go to the Olympics. And it was the most refreshing and like confident I've ever felt. And like I'd accepted after that I was probably going to retire, because for the first time in my life, I'd accepted that I'd done everything that I could to put myself in the best shape possible. And whatever happened after that, for the first time, I actually felt like I'd be really content. And when COVID hit, that was why it was so difficult. But now also, like, I've done the ISL, an amazing experience for me. I've shown that I can improve on my 200 fly off, you know, not a great deal of training. Like I had 8 weeks of training. Like I was down in Northampton. I was all over the place for a while before it, but like I was down in Northampton from like, I think mid-January to mid-February. And that was fine. It was just like I was doing 8 sessions a week, and I was in like a hotel room for all of the day, and it was awful for my mental state. And then actually on the way back, I had a seizure, going just home from the competition. My girlfriend picked me up, and it, you know, God, I felt so bad for her on the way. And that took me out of the pool for 2 weeks. And then I had 8 weeks of 6 sessions a week down in Leeds with Rich Denigan, where we just put in some amazing, really high quality fly stuff. And like, it was just like, if I'm doing these times of that kind of training, like, and I'm having so much fun, and I'm now this swimmer who knows what I'm capable of, like, I want to keep going now until 2022 Commonwealth Games, like, regardless of what happens this year. And to be honest, after that, who knows as well? Like, you know, like I want to chase that feeling of knowing that I've done everything I can, and I know that another season could give me that. But also, like, if it goes really well and I can start making it a viable future, then I'll keep going for another little while, because I've got so much passion for the sport. Like, so that's why I don't really want to stop unless I've had my fill with it. And like, you know, retiring early would be my last thing I'd want to do.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about you, Linda, but I got goosebumps there. Like that
I
was
know.
amazing.
I was thinking that. I was like, it's quite interesting because I know, like, obviously with myself, I've got like similar experience because I retired like a few years ago, and then it wasn't until I've been back in the water like 2 years now. And I came back, but like because my little one, she went back swimming. That was like my motivation to get back in. But it's weird when like hearing you say that because that's exactly how I feel about it now, and it's weird. It's like your mental side takes that bit of a change, and you see that shift from one to the other. So, but yeah, it definitely makes their heads on neck stand up. Like,
yeah. How long did you have out the pool in the end, Lyndon?
So I had about 2 years out before I came back. So I'd left after trials from Rio, and I was like, I just needed a bit of a break because I was in the category which a lot of people were like, you shouldn't be in this category, and everyone was like, you should be. It was kind of like, what do I want to do? And I was like, you know what, I just need that break to like switch off, enjoy myself a bit. And then it wasn't until my little one's now 2, she's 3 in June.
No,
and then she's gone to like water babies and stuff, and she's doing absolutely amazing. And I was like, right, this is now my time to get back in the water and like go for it, basically. But now I'm the exact same mind frame as you. Like I couldn't see myself stopping. Like I could quite easily see myself going for Paris now. But it's like depending on whatever happens this year, it's like it's happened. But I know we've not had the right build up for it, like with the pandemic and stuff like that. So, but yeah.
No, that's honestly sick. Like I actually didn't realize that you took the time out and then have come back to the sport. And honestly, the Paralympic classification system it blows my mind sometimes. Like honestly, like watching it. So yeah, I do have I have a massive amount of sympathy for you. Honestly, there. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
But is it just like you go where they put you? Really, is that how it is?
It's kind of the whole classification structures itself. It's kind of trying to get your head around it of like what goes on for like getting your whole classification, how you get to be a freestyler, how you get to be in that one for breaststroke, and how you get to be in a medley. And it's like you've got to be measured from like certain points. So it's like your shoulder joint to your elbow to like your shorter stump, and then same on your left side. You get your height, get your weight, and then it's like right, you're going in the water. Now, when I got classified in like 2010, 2011, so it's been like well over 10 years now since I got redone. The whole thing itself has just been completely scrapped and revamped. But now when I got in, so I did like 100 meters warm up, and the guys are like, right, we need you to do 50 fly, like kind of like threshold pace, and then a 50 fly max. And I was like, hold on, I've done no training for weeks. What are you doing?
Welcome back.
Yeah, and I was like, I had to do it for every single stroke, and then they got out and they were like, right, that's enough. And I was like, that's enough? Okay, fair enough then. So I was like, right, I'm gonna do a bit of a swim down. I swam down, and then in the first place when I got redone in Sheffield, they were like, oh right, they put me up a class, and it was really, really like, why have I gone up? Like everyone was completely baffled by it, and it's one of those, unless you know the ins and out of classification, then you'll understand it. But then I got called in the next day, and Jay was on the phone to me that day, and he was like, I don't know how you sounded so calm about it. And I was like, it's just not letting what is out of your control get the better of you. You've just got to get on with it, and just like not let them challenges face you. Because it'd be quite easy for me to say, do you know what, that's it, I'm not swimming. Just pack my bags and go home. But I didn't. And I was like, do you know what, let's just go and race, see what we can do, and we'll decide on it from there. And the next day, I literally went for breakfast in the hotel, because I know what you're saying. Like, you go for your breakfast, and then you back upstairs, like in your room, and that's it. You're in your room all day until you can go to the pool. And then I literally grabbed breakfast, got in the lift, and was told I need to get to the pool, like ASAP, because the classifiers needed to see us. Got back in the water, did another 100 meters. I did 3. Luckily this time I only did 3 strokes, so I was like, right, thank God for that. And then it was like, yeah, we're putting you down a category. And to be fair, it's like everyone says like, this is where I should have been like 10 years ago. I'm like, yeah, but you can't look at what what's already happened. You have to move forward and look at the future, because otherwise it's just gonna beat you up all the time and think to yourself, well, why wasn't this done years ago? And you're gonna get all the questions that come back to you. And this is why, like, we were trying to decide on a name for the podcast, which is why we went for Believe and Achieve. And that's my motto, and I've always used it wherever I go. It's what I say to everyone. Now Jay started using it. I was like, right, that's copyrighted for you then.
Yeah.
But like for me, like Jay, we've always had our mottos like going through life. But like, what would be your motto that you've always used? But what would be your message to anyone who's listening today? Like,
it's funny you talk about mottos, because when I was down in Bath Uni, I'm not sure if you know the name Matthew Johnson.
I've heard of the name.
He was this really good 200 fly, 400 freestyle, 400 IM swimmer, and like when I used to train with him, his motto all the time was dream, believe, strive, achieve, and we always like repeat that. Like, so it's quite interesting that you say about believe and achieve and how you actually got to that name. But yeah, it's visualize, sorry, because he always used to visualize it. That was the first one on the list. But yeah, when I was in my first year of uni, or it was either first year of uni or like one of my last years of sixth form, I was in a lecture, just call it a lecture for now, and one of the guys just goes, right, we're gonna apply the KISS principle for all of these assignments that you're gonna do, and it's just keep it simple, stupid. Like, you know, just literally, like, I spent years overcomplicating what I was doing, you know, like looking at times and go, well, what does that mean for a race? When actually it means nothing. It literally means nothing. Not even what you do in the warm-up means anything. Like, you know, at the end of the day, when I now go to trials or when I go to any competition, I've got to swim 4 lengths of butterfly as fast as I physically can, you know, like, it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. And like, you know, I swim because I've got 3 reasons, like, that I've always had in my head. One of them is the personal growth. I believe I can get better. One of them is I believe that I can make the Olympics. And the other one is because I really bloody enjoy the sport. And it doesn't, like, to be honest, the other 2 do not work without the third. Like, the only reason I do it is because I'm still so passionate about the sport. And like the day that goes will probably be the day that I realize that I need to retire. But you know, it's just about keeping it as simple as possible. And there's been years where I've made it so overcomplicated. And to be honest, they've been the years I've like enjoyed the least. And yeah, I just believe it's just about keeping it as simple as possible.
That's amazing. And like you say, like with them 3 principles that you live by, and like the main one is, if you don't love it, then you can't achieve the other 2. And I really, really like that. And it's amazing that you're like still involved with the sport to this day, because like I still like look up to you as a swimmer as well, because you do the events that I do, like starting to do now. I'm starting to creep up on the 200 fly side. I
was going to say, keep me out of that 400 IM. I don't want to find that one.
But no, it's amazing that you're still involved with the sport, and it's amazing that like you can still go so far in it as well, and like you can do so much. Like, you're still really young in the sport, really, as well. But yeah,
you might not feel it, like, but you never know.
You're only as old as you feel, aren't you? I still feel fairly young.
That's good. I'm exactly the same.
Yeah. How old are you now, Jay?
I'm 21. I'm 22 in a couple of months.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I
still got bags of time too.
There's people in our squad who've obviously, like, with having the break over the pandemic, they've just shot up, like the teenagers. I am the smallest in the club now. I swear to God, I am.
Really?
Yeah. But like, it's one of them things as well. Like, when I was younger, when I was always like quite small and stuff, I always thought like height was I was at a disadvantage because I'm so small. But now I'm like, no matter how tall someone is, how bigger they are, whatever, I'm going to try and beat you in this race. You know what I mean? Like, your physical physique is, I know like how hard I work in the pool and in the gym and everything like that. So why can't I beat this person next to me who's like 6-7 foot tall or got abs
You've got the right David versus Goliath mentality. I love it.
But yeah, that was amazing. That's all the questions that we've got wrote down for you. We've got a game, if you don't mind, if we would like to play. So
yeah, let's go for it.
In this game, we have selected 2 events at random, and you pretty much have to guess how many times you've swam this race throughout your whole career in swimming.
Okay. Can I have like a minute to think about it or something like that?
Well,
or is it like quick fire?
No, we'll give you 3 chances and we'll say higher or lower after each one.
Okay.
So
you can have 30 seconds after the when the question's been asked.
Yeah.
30 seconds. Okay. On a time schedule, you've got to remember.
No, you can take as long as you need. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
We're not one of these quick fire people, because like if we got asked this, we wouldn't have a frigging clue.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first event I've got for you first is 200 fly long course. So this includes heats, semi-finals, and finals. So how many times do you think you've done that throughout your whole career long course?
God. I'm gonna say I'm old. God, I'm 26. I'm gonna say 85.
Oof, lower.
75.
A little bit higher.
76.
Yeah, bang on.
Bang on.
Wow, like I've done this game with like people who I've interviewed, like from my YouTube channel, and you've been the like closest range and like pretty much bang on. That's amazing.
Well, my logic was, I reckon I've done about eight per year, barring a couple of years since I was about 15. So I was going off that kind of logic, and then I've obviously forgot the year that we missed because of COVID and stuff like that. So
that's a good way of thinking about it, actually.
It is a good way of thinking about it. Like I never would think about thinking of it that way, but once you do, you kind of get your head around it.
Yeah.
So the second event we've got for you is 400 free.
I don't think it's as many. Is it going to be as many as 200 fly? I did do 200 fly more as a junior. I'm gonna say about 60.
Higher.
70.
Higher.
Really? Oh, crikey. 78. I don't know.
77.
Oh, really?
So yeah, when I was counting them events, I was like, oh shoot, this can't be right. There's one time difference like between the 400 free and 200 fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I did the 200 fly so much more as a junior, but as I've got older, like there's been years when I completely dropped the 200 fly altogether and I've just focused on the 400. So that does actually make sense. But mad.
Consistency is great. Like,
have you got any more?
No, we've only got we've got 2 for today.
I was quite enjoying that.
Well, when we get you back on the podcast soon, we will definitely pick 2 different events, and we hope you've had fun playing that game and also had fun taking a part of our podcast. I know myself and Lyndon have really enjoyed having you on and sharing your stories, your experiences, and your inspirational mottos. It was honestly fantastic to have you on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, thank you. The pleasure's all mine. It's been actually really good to come on. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Any final words from you, Lyndon?
No, I think it's been great to have Jay join us. I know like it's not every day that you get to speak to like many different athletes that are out there. But also like speaking to you, Jay, like I know loads of people like say it where like you're an inspiration, you're motivating and things like that, but generally you are. Like it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you and learn about like your experiences with the ISL, going to trials, the bubbles, things like that. And it just makes you, I think when you've got the mindset and you kind of like, you don't know what to expect when you go into it. And then when you hear someone speak about it, you're like, oh wow, like what Jay was saying, like you get goosebumps when you speak to someone about the experience and like, you certainly did that for me. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
Oh, honestly, thanks, guys. Honestly, I really, really enjoyed that. Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, I second.
Yeah, and what you said
well.
about what you said about next time. Yeah, hopefully there would be a next time as well. Hopefully, I'm not going to go back on what I said and retire next year now. So.
Oh, we would definitely have you back on within a heartbeat, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! Thanks very much. Yeah, I loved it. Cheers, guys.
Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you on the next episode of Believe and Achieve podcast. From your host and Jay Lelliott, it's goodbye for now. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope that you enjoyed, and we are so excited to bring brand new content to this. So make sure you check out our socials to stay up to date of when we'll be posting next. Until the next one, take care, and remember, believe and achieve.